Hey, it's Dr. Ron Kaiser here on behalf of the Mental Health Gym and the Rejuvenating Revolution. It's really hard to be both active and depressed at the same time. It's not impossible, but really hard. I've given a number of presentations over time, but I think that this has to be one of the really more important ones because we're talking about depression, and depression is really the biggest health problem in the world. Not just the biggest mental health problem, but many people who see physicians for physical issues are doing so because of depression. Depression impacts negatively upon the body and upon the mind. Conversely, if we can avoid that state, we can be a whole lot healthier both physically and emotionally. Now, all of us get sad, disappointed, frustrated, and so on. What we want to really avoid is getting it into the depression cycle where we actually don't want to get out of bed, don't want to do things, turn down opportunities to pursue activities, and so on. It's really important to fight that tendency because that's deteriorating for your overall physical and mental health. Now, depression has a cognitive component that's very significant, and books have been written about the cognitive management and control of depression. There's a whole series of thoughts and behaviors that, based upon those thoughts, that can be done to reduce depression. I'm not going to get into this at this time. That's a topic for another video, but what I would like to have you do cognitively is recognize that when you're feeling down, when you're feeling disappointed, sad, and so on, that it's a temporary state, and it's very important to remind yourself of that fact, that it's temporary. We can't predict the future. This isn't necessarily as good as we're going to get. And let's do something about it. That doing something about it is activity. Now, many people are limited in what activities they can do, but I think it's critically important to be able to move whatever parts of your body you can do in order to effectively ward off depression. For most of us who have full mobility, walking is a tremendous thing to do. Running or jogging are certainly also fit that category, but not all of us can do that. Walking is really important for various reasons. Number one, it gets the brain chemistry operating in the right direction. Endorphins and other brain chemicals become activated. Many of us have heard about the runner's high that people achieve after they've been running for a while. We may not reach that runner's high, but we may get to that side of the continuum if we stay active and walk on a regular basis. Now, it becomes even better from a physical and mental standpoint if we add one of the 7 keys to rejuvenating that I've written about in my book, Rejuvenating, The Art and Science of Growing Older with Enthusiasm. One of those keys is appreciating the world around us, to take in the good and appreciate it. So if we can combine our walk with an appreciation of nature, of the architecture that we're observing, depending whether we're in a rural, urban, suburban area, even things like observing the differences in the designs of manhole covers, keeps our mind active, keeps us distracted, and keeps the brain chemicals flowing in the right direction. It's important to appreciate the uniqueness of the various things that we observe on our walks. And pretty soon, we're adding distraction to the flow of brain chemicals and to the positive vibes that we're experiencing by taking in the good. And once we get into that habit, again, it may not reduce depression to a greater extent with everybody, but it's going to help some people. It's going to be very difficult to stay depressed and be active at the same time. And if you accomplish that today, it's going to be a whole lot easier tomorrow.